Okay, listen up. It's happening. The timeline is locked in, and the money is already starting to move. If you're a U.S. investor and you choose to ignore what's being called the digital arms race, you are on track to miss the single greatest wealth transfer since the dot-com boom. I mean it, the stakes could not be higher. And look, if you think you've got this market figured out, you need to think again. The old rules, they're gone. A recent institutional report put it bluntly. The narrative has shifted. This is no longer about retail traders.
So let's get right into their playbook, because by the end of this briefing, you are going to understand the institutional strategy for 2026, step by step. You'll see exactly what they see and why they are making these moves right now behind the scenes.
All right, part 1, the 2026 supply shock. Let's be crystal clear about this. This isn't some possibility or wild guess. This is a scheduled event. The countdown has already begun.
So what exactly is a supply shock? Well, it's when you get a sudden, massive wave of demand for an asset that has a fixed supply. It's basic economics 101, right? When that happens, the price doesn't just go up, it can go up exponentially. And the scale of what we're talking about here is anything but basic.
And that leads us directly to part 2, the bank's digital arms race. You have to understand, what's happening isn't just random market noise. It's a coordinated, strategic accumulation. This is the real engine behind the coming shock. Now, this term, digital arms race, that's what the insiders are calling the off-market accumulation of XRP by huge financial institutions. They're quietly stockpiling it, strengthening their balance sheets, because they're preparing for a completely new, tokenized financial system. They're basically gathering ammunition for a whole new kind of financial war. And this slide shows you exactly how it's going to play out. It's a 5-step chain reaction. First, banks need liquidity. So step 2, they start hoarding XRP off-market through private, over-the-counter deals. But then step 3 happens. That private supply completely dries up. So what do? That forces them into step 4. They have to start buying on public exchanges where you and I trade. And that, right there, is step 5. The supply shock ignites. Now, I really need you to grasp the sheer scale of the money we're talking about here. Part 3, the trillion-dollar wave. And this isn't some far-off hope. This capital, it's already in motion.
But hey, don't just take my word for it. Listen to Matt Hougan, the CIO of Bitwise, one of the major gateways for institutional money. He's on the record saying, we are seeing interest from pension funds and insurance companies. We're talking about the giants of the financial world, these slow, conservative money, and they're getting interested. This is the key distinction you have to get. The first wave in crypto, that was us, retail. It was millions in capital, mostly driven by ETFs and pure speculation. But this second wave, this is the institutions. We are talking trillions of dollars from pension funds and insurance companies, and they are not speculating. No way. They are buying the core infrastructure for the future of finance. Okay, so what's the trigger? What kicks this whole thing off? That brings us to part 4, the January 2026 green light. And this isn't a guess. This is a date on the legislative calendar. It's the official starting gun. This timeline just lays it all out. 2024, that's right now. This is the year of institutional due diligence. 2025 is for that quiet, off-market accumulation we talked about. And then, bam, January 2026, the Clarity Act. So why is this one piece of U.S. legislation the global trigger? Well, it all starts when it officially categorizes XRP as a digital commodity. That simple act removes the legal risk for U.S. banks. That gives the green light to the risk committees at places like JP Morgan and BlackRock, and that unlocks their balance sheets to start allocating directly to XRP, kicking off the age of full-scale tokenization. Believe me, when the US gives the green light, the rest of the world floors the accelerator. You need to understand this too. None of this is some lucky break for Ripple, the company behind XRP. Which brings us to part 5, Ripple's Endgame. This has been the plan all along. I mean, just listen to Ripple's own Chief Technology Officer, David Schwartz. The ambition here is just staggering. He said, quote, "The goal is to take over the world with solid financial products." They're not even trying to hide it. And the proof? It's already showing up on-chain. Over 500,000 new wallets have just been activated on the XRP ledger. This isn't just theory. This institutional movement is already driving real-world network growth before the main event even kicks off. Which brings us to our final and most critical section for you. Part
Part 6, your final warning. The window of opportunity here is closing, and believe me, it is closing fast.
So let's just put it all together. The players are in position, the timeline is set. This is not a drill.
So what do? Here's your action plan. If you are serious about this space, you need to crush the subscribe button for Crypto Global News. Then you need to slam that bell icon for all updates and share this briefing with other serious investors you know. You absolutely cannot afford to miss what is coming next. And for the uncensored intel, the stuff we simply can't share on this platform, you have got to be in our private Telegram. Scan the QR code on the screen right now or use the link in the description. Join us now. We've laid out the timeline, the players, the legislative trigger, so the billion-dollar question is which specific U.S. bank is positioned to make that first decisive move, the one that starts the entire cascade. We have the answer, and it's in our next explainer right there on the end screen. Clip it now.
Stay ahead in the crypto market. Subscribe now for the latest global news and updates.